Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news, updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're on the way to 11,200 subscribers. And if you could click that like button, I would be massively grateful. I say daily, it's been a few days since we were last here, but we are back and we are better than ever. There's actually things to talk about. So we're back for it. There's loads of you here. Sportcat, VV Vlad, Jack Sachs, Hyper, Heyo, Jacob, Saka the Goat, Lord Ferguson of Aberdeen, Anu Brata, Jackson, Matthew Tentego, Pekka, Leo, Vic, Hussein, Ultra Pro Gamer, did a dart. What happened to Saka? Has he even had a shot on target this Euros? I don't know if he has had a shot on target this Euros, to be honest, but I just don't think that the setup is useful for him or any other right winger. I think the only reason that Palmer has looked, in some people's opinion, more threatening than Saka, is because Palmer just takes far more risks. But ultimately, I just don't think Saka gets the ball in good positions most of the time. Kyle Walker is allergic to passing the ball forwards to him. It's just, he's got no one to link with, really, other than when Foden moves across. I mean, it's incredible to me that we've not seen a right-hand side of Trent, Mainu, and Saka yet, which I think would work far better. Boardsy, good to see you back. Hannah, Max, Ryan, good to see you as well. Opinions on Reinders. Could he fill the left 8 role? He's an interesting one. He's an interesting one because at times during the Euros, he's looked really good. And then at times, I think he's not looked good at all. So, and I've not seen him much outside of that. Obviously, he plays for AC Milan, but I've not seen a huge amount of him. So, maybe he could. Maybe he could. Leo, thank you very, very much for being a member for 2 months. You absolutely love to see it. I do appreciate that very much, Leo. Welcome back for the 2nd month. Everyone's been poor this tournament. No point comparing players. I kind of agree. I think the whole system doesn't work. So, I mean, ultimately, like Saka going to left back, as annoying as it was, he was better at left back than Trippier has been all tournament. So, that just shows you how bad the whole squad is functioning when Saka can go back to a position that he played in for literally only a few months 4 years ago and look better than our starting left back. It's a huge problem. Who's your number one priority signing? Well, this is an interesting one, right? This is an interesting one because, and we're going to talk about it today. We'll talk about it in a bit more depth, but Calafiori is emerging as the player that right now we are linked to more than anyone else. Of all of the players, since the Sesko thing fell through, Calafiori is the one that we're being linked to the most. Obviously, he's a centre-back that can play at left-back. And I really like him. And I'd love him at Arsenal. I think it would be a big improvement to the squad, even though I'm not convinced that straight away he'd start. But the issue I have with it is he's not the priority. A defender cannot be the priority this window. Remember when I made the dream transfer window video? Defender was the 4th most important position when I made that video. We need a striker, a winger, a central midfielder, at least one central midfielder, and then a defender. Because ultimately, last season, despite the fact that Timber was injured for the entire season, we still had the best defence in the league. We had the best defence in the league. And this season, we've got Timber coming back, who will almost be like a new signing. And so, Calafiori is great and would be great. And is probably raises the level compared to Tomiyasu or Kivior. No offense to them. But that's not the priority. That's not the priority. And I think some of the other things that we're going to talk about today have me just a little bit worried. I'm beginning to get just a little bit worried. Not massively, but there are a couple of things that are making me a little nervy. So we'll get into them because there's quite a few things, and there's been a couple of things over the last couple of days that I've added into it. So the first one is actually about a sale. This is coming from Maxi Rodriguez. Now, he's a journalist that specializes in Sevilla. Everything indicates that Sambi Lokonga will join Sevilla on a loan with an obligation to buy. Arsenal are asking for the clause to be worth 10 million. Now, the obligation is good. It has to have an obligation. A loan for Sambi without an obligation to buy is a joke. Now, in an ideal world, I would just sell him anyway, instead of doing a loan with an obligation. But either way, the obligation was the first big thing that we needed. Sevilla wanted it to be an option. We wanted it to be an obligation. And then the second thing is what the value of that obligation is. Arsenal are asking for the clause to be worth 10 million. Sevilla want it to be 7.5 million. So, look, probably ends up somewhere in between, right? Which again, that's quite a significant loss. In fact, what did we? Let me quickly just bring up what we actually paid for Sambi Lokonga in the first place, because this really does represent the first kind of sizable loss in Arteta's tenure. So we bought him for 17.5 million euros, and we're looking at losing him selling him for about 9 million euros. So we basically halved our money, which isn't great. It's basically half of what we paid for him. So it's not ideal, but you've got to cut your losses at this point. We've had him for 3 years now. We need to sell him. 50 for Eddie and 10 for Sambi. Is Edu having me on? Yeah, but they're completely different players. Smash up the likes, please, my people. I appreciate that, Mafia Boss. Yeah, if you could click the like button, it does help me. I would be grateful. He was decent on loan last season. That is the one slightly frustrating thing. Sambi his loan at Palace was inconsequential. His loan at Luton, I thought, was decent. He looked like one of Luton's best players, and that was a very difficult team to play in. I've taken my mind off all the rumours. I believe Arsenal have a new norm of not giving anything away with regards to the business that they intend to do. Yeah, again, that is something that I'm gonna bring up because I agree. I agree to a certain extent. On to Calafiori. So Fabrizio Romano on the Sambi Lokonga thing also concluded Arsenal have already approved the exit of Sambi Lokonga. Talks are underway with Sevilla. Value of the buy clause is being negotiated between the clubs. The player has given the green light to the destination. So there you go. But also coming from Fabrizio, Arsenal's board and Mikel Arteta really appreciate Riccardo Calafiori. Bologna will make life difficult for Juventus if they move forward for the defender. Arsenal and Chelsea remain interested in Calafiori, as revealed last week. Both clubs have explored conditions of the deal. It's expensive because Basel will get almost 50% of the fee. So whatever we spend on Calafiori, half of that pretty much is going to go to Basel. Or Chelsea spend, whoever spends it. Calafiori has given the green light to go to Juventus, but Bologna's preference is to sell him abroad. Bologna do not want to sell him to Juventus if they can avoid it. Calcio Mercato have said Arsenal, especially, and by the way, this literally just came out before I went live, Arsenal, especially in the last few hours, have entered the race for Calafiori, with the Premier League his most likely destination at the moment. Bologna want 50 million euros for the player, considering 50% of the sale will go to FC Basel. Next week will be decisive as far as Calafiori's future is concerned. Obviously, Italy now out of the Euro, so we won't be focused on that. And then finally, the actual director of Bologna said, I can confirm that we will consider proposals for Calafiori. It would be fantastic to keep him, but we have to be realistic. In case of a good proposal, we will discuss about that. We anticipate clubs from abroad to move. And again, they are keen to move him abroad rather than letting him go to Juventus. Didi Dart says, my number one is Nico Williams. Could he even be one of our starting wingers? He's just behind Saka, in my opinion. I'm not getting duped by a good Euros campaign. I like Williams. I like him a lot. His wages make it almost impossible, if I'm honest. Like, we can't have him come in and be the third or fourth highest paid player at the club. That's insane. So I think that's going to be a problem for everyone, though. So we'll see. And then there was this piece in The Athletic today, right? So it's not specifically written by David Ornstein, but he's one of the writers of it. So who knows who actually wrote this specific bit? But it within the title of the piece, it name checks David Ornstein as one of the contributors. So it has to be relatively legit for him to put his name to it. Anyway, basically he said, It is not likely to be a summer of big-ticket items for Arsenal like it was last year, but a wide player could add to the competition, and a midfielder to complement Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard could be possible. Now, that is a long stretch away from what David Ornstein had been saying for the last few months. David Ornstein had been saying for months, Arsenal were going to have a big window. Arsenal had lots of money to spend. You know, we didn't do anything in January, but we were going to go big in the summer. And now it is that we're not likely to have a summer of big ticket items, but that a wide player and a midfielder could be possible. So that's suddenly a real change of tune from the Athletic. And I don't know whether that is worrying or it's kind of demonstrating the fact that they have no idea. Because why was Ornstein saying that we were going to be spending loads of money? If he was saying we were going to be spending loads of money, he must have had a reason for that. But if that's now changed, nothing has changed for Arsenal. We had a decent run in the Champions League. We came second again. So our finances should be where we expected them to be. So I don't know why that would supposedly have changed. T-Nat just said that the German player after the Euros rumour is true, but we are keeping it quiet to stop other clubs hijacking the deal. Fair enough. That's exciting. That's exciting. But yeah, so we'll see how that pans out. But on one hand, it could be... And also, right? Also, what does a big ticket item mean? What is a big ticket? Is a big ticket item, is that like awesome? Because at that point, I think a lot of us have come to the conclusion that we may not be getting, you know, a £100 million player. How much would Calafiori even cost? 50 million euros is apparently what Bologna want for him. But the problem Bologna have is that 50% of that is going to go straight to Basel because of the deal that they did with Basel. So the other thing in the Athletic, Espanyol's 23-year-old goalkeeper Joan Garcia features prominently on Arsenal's shortlist of potential replacements for Aaron Ramsdale. Garcia has a 25 million euro release clause. And again, this is something that I think is a little bit problematic. Yeah, big tickets like Bruno G, João Neves, Osimhen. So fine, if we're going to go for like 50, 60 million pound players, that's and they're not considered big tickets, that's not a problem. This for me, right? If we're talking about some people saying that we can't get more than 25 million for Ramsdale, and we're going to go and get Garcia for 25 million, who's got a 25 million euro release clause, effectively that means we are literally not going to profit on Ramsdale. Like, we'll be selling him for the same, if not less than we bought him for. And we've spent 27 million on Raya, and we're spending 25 million euros on the backup. Again, like, is that good business? Is that I don't know that that's good business at that point for what Ramsdale is. Is Espanyol's 23-year-old goalkeeper really worth the same amount as Aaron Ramsdale? I don't know. Big ticket, Rory as a striker. That is a big ticket. That is a big ticket. 75 mil plus is a big ticket. Yeah, I don't know. Why do you care about making profits? Because that's how you spend more. What do you mean? Why do you care about making profits? Making a profit is what you can then go and spend on players to improve your squad. Like, that's just basics. Why couldn't he be though? If Havertz is, why can't Williams? By the way, Havertz being our most paid player is a joke. Seriously. I mean, Havertz is a higher level player than Nico Williams. Thoughts on Chelsea effectively making more money than Arsenal on the Amari Hutchinson deal? Whoa, it's not even effectively. It's not even effective. Chelsea have made significantly more money. Chelsea. That's another example. Chelsea did pull our pants down. That's not the only source of revenue. No, but it's a significant source of revenue. Yeah, Chelsea pulled our pants down when it came to Amari Hutchinson. Truthfully, like, that was not good for us. K's and X, good to see you. No worries. It's okay. We will get 50 million for Eddie. Lol. Yeah, I mean, some of our valuations, I just can't wrap my head around. I can't wrap my head around some of them. It's bizarre. If you make a loss, you find yourself not being able to spend. How do people not understand this? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Any news about the City court case? Been some time now. No, we haven't heard about that in ages. That was meant to be. So that trial was just over. So that was the case of Man City trying to sue the Premier League. That was just over 4 weeks ago. The trial it started. It was meant to take 2 weeks to get a decision. It's been 4 weeks now, and we still haven't had one. So, are the Calafiori rumors true or just a bunch of Bologna? I like what you did there. I think they're true. I think they're true. They're coming from everyone at this point. The only slight concern I have on it is it's one of those, those deals where Fabrizio's fingerprints are all over it. Like, not exactly the same as the Mudryk deal, but some of these ones where Fabrizio is just all over it. That, and now Chelsea are involved as well. It's maybe it's just PTSD from Mudryk, but I do always worry when it's got Fabrizio all over it. But it's being reported in a lot of places that he's going to go. Fabrizio did tweet about Gyökeres yesterday. Yeah, I was just about to read that out. So yesterday, Fabrizio said, for Victor Gyökeres, Sporting still want the release clause. They want a package of 100 million euros. This is an expensive deal, and this is why Arsenal have shown interest in recent months, but at the moment are still not advancing. We know that sometimes in the market, the price can change. In June, you have a price, and then in July and in August, it can change. So for both Gyökeres and Osimhen, the situation is quite interesting. Let's see what Arsenal will decide to do. So there you go. Look, I'm the Gyökeres team train is still moving forwards, but it's not looking good, Brev. It's not looking good, Brev. Are you doing a watch along? No, there's no watch along tonight, but I will be live on Twitch later on with a new game. We need to decide what new game we're playing over on Twitch later. Link is down in the description to the Twitch channel. How are we not in for Dybala? He could add depth at right wing and striker, 12 million only. Yeah, I don't know about Dybala. I don't know if he's actually good enough for the Premier League. Why didn't we sign Gray? Solves midfield and fullback issues with depth. It's one of those, right? Like Archie Gray to Spurs. I think he's a great player. Clearly very, very promising. It's a £40 million package. £40 million for an 18-year-old that's had one season in the Championship. One very good season. But we are at this point where clubs are paying, that is not just paying for, they're already paying for the potential at this point. For 40 million, I just think that is, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot. For a position that, look, could he play alongside Rice? Maybe. Would he be ready to do that straight away? Not sure. Think it was only 30 million because Rodon went. Yeah. So it was a 40 million pound package. So it was 30 million in cash and Rodon. So they obviously valued Rodon at 10 million. Rory is the most overrated YouTuber of all time. Well, Sheikh Hamboob is the most overrated commenter of all time. So how about you absolutely swivel on that one, donkey? We need to buy a lot of good academy players that are about to break out. Yeah. I mean, we are sniffing around different academies. We brought someone in on a scholarship yesterday from Linfield. I can't remember his name, to be fair. But look, there's plenty of time, and this is this is the other thing, right? We are still early in the window. And actually, it's not even buying players that I'm bothered about at the moment. I'm still not bothered about signing players. I'm more concerned about the sales because there's no reason that all of the players we've got that weren't at the Euros or at Copa America, there's no reason that we shouldn't have been progressing with selling those players. And it's like, I think we've probably got to sell, or really, I would like us to sell like 8 senior players this summer. And the only one that's even close to a move right now is Sambi Lokonga. You've still got Nketiah. nothing really happening. Reece Nelson, nothing really happening. Nuno Tavares, nothing really happening. Kieran Tierney, nothing really happening. Potentially Emil Smith-Rowe, but nothing really happening. Like Thomas Partey, couple of links to Saudi, but nothing really happening. It's I don't know. That's more of a problem for me than buying, because we've had this issue before. We've had this issue for a long time. So it's frustrating. It is frustrating, but there is still plenty of time. Apparently, Smith-Rowe doesn't want the move. Him or Vieira must go. Yeah, Smith-Rowe doesn't want the move. Smith-Rowe wants to stay and fight for his place, which is fair. Tierney's a tough sell right now. Yeah, Tierney is a tough sell. The injury was problematic for selling him, but we've got to do it. We've got to do it. That's a better talking point. Yeah. Well, I think that's just more of the pressing issue. I mean, equally, right? The fact that we bought Raya yesterday, so according to Fabrizio, we triggered the buy clause for Raya yesterday, the 1st of July. That kind of says it all, right? We were waiting for the 1st of July. We were waiting for the PSR reset to do that, and we've done it. So on that hand, and look, how many other clubs? Maybe a lot of the players that we want to sell to clubs who also had to wait for July to do anything. So I don't know. Time will tell. All those swap deals for PSR were mental. Yeah, they were crazy. And this is the thing. It is more difficult now than ever to actually know what the value of a player is in the market. Because if you look at 20 odd million for Hutchinson, well, if Hutchinson's worth that, then Reece Nelson is worth more. Eddie Nketiah is worth more. Who else has moved? I mean, Archie Gray wasn't a PSR deal, but that was expensive. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, he's 25 and he's done a decent season in the Championship, and he's gone for 30 million. So it's difficult. It's difficult. Max, thank you very much for being a member for 2 months. Got my ticket to the Leverkusen game a few days ago. Hoping to see you there. I will be there. I will be at both the Leverkusen and the Lyon games. So, if you see me, come and say hello. 35 million for Elliot Anderson, So on that basis, our players should be worth, the same or more. But they were definitely PSR deals that were inflated, Yeah, same with Martin, So it's difficult. Will the players that played in the Euros still go to America? They will, but they'll probably join up late. It depends how far they go in the Euros. But I mean, literally, if you get to the final of the Euros is on the 14th of July, I want to say. So the final of the Euros is the 14th of July. And when's our game against Bournemouth? Oh, it hasn't even added it to It hasn't added to this yet. But when's our game against Bournemouth? The 24th of July, is it? Yeah, the 24th, 10 days after the Euros final. So, yeah, Arsenal players that are in the Euros final are not going to be playing against Bournemouth. They're probably not going to play against United. Do you know what? I mean, really, they might not even go out there at all. Our final game in America is on Thursday, the 1st of August. That's only just over 2 weeks after the Euros final. So, yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if quite a few of them actually just didn't go, to be honest. Because even then, you've also got Copa America finishes even later than the Euros, I think. When's the Copa America final? Like 3 days later. And then you've got... What was I going to say? What was the other thing I was going to say? No, that was it. Yeah, but basically, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It wouldn't surprise me if quite a few of them just waited until the Emirates Cup games. Do you think we'll get any signings done before the start of pre-season? Well, this is the thing, right? Do we have anyone in Copa? Yeah, Martinelli and Gabriel Magalhaes. That's the thing. You've got the Gabbies out with Brazil. Obviously, you've got Saliba you'd expect will go a long way. Havertz, you'd expect will go a long way. To be fair, they can't both make it to the final. England, you've obviously got Ramsdale, Saka, and Bryce. Is that it? Is anyone else still in it? Trossard's out. Kivior's out. Jorginho's out. That's pretty much it, I think. Am I forgetting anyone? Vegas Gunner, thank you very, very much for the $5 super chat. That is incredibly generous. Over 400 million in salary tied up in Tierney, Ramsdale, Eddie, and Reece. Hopefully they can move a couple of them on. Over 400 million. That kind. Do you mean 400k? As in 400k a week? Yeah, 400k. I think that's what you mean. Yeah, 400k a week tied up in Tierney, Ramsdale, Eddie, and Reece. Exactly. They need to be moved on. Yeah, I got you. Oh, David Raya, yeah, David Raya. Again, though, one of him and Havertz will be back quite early. How likely do you think Zinchenko's to be sold? If we're going for Calafiori, I'd say quite likely. I would say quite likely. It'd be him, Kivior, or Tomiyasu, either way. But yeah, we just need these sales to get moving. Because also, until you've got this, the reason that the sales are the priority is that until you've got the sales done, you don't know how much you can spend. So you in terms of planning out the whole summer, the earlier you get those sales done, the super chat disappeared into thin air. That one, sorry. Yeah, until you've got the sales done, you don't know how much you can spend, and if you don't know how much you can spend, it makes it very difficult. So, wait, did I miss the super chat completely, or are you talking about this one? I'm confused. Thoughts on the game tonight? I think Austria will win. I think Austria will win the game tonight. How long do you think it will take Timber to get back into the first 11? Day one. It doesn't show up for us? Weird. Yeah, I think it'll be day one. I think Timber will be starting at the start of the chat. I'm not sure why that would disappear. Apologies for that. But yeah, Timber will be straight into the starting lineup. 2 days without the Euros after today. Sad times. Yeah, that's tough. That is tough. I've got a $5 on Austria winning. Yeah, Austria will win. The only good thing is that at least Wimbledon's back. At least Wimbledon is back. Finally. But yeah, with the sales, that's the other thing, right? It's just as important to get like Eddie's on 100k a week. Isn't Reece on 100k a week? Like getting them off the books is important. It simply is important. There is truth that the German player is the target for Arsenal. Yeah, we've seen that. So who do we think the German player is? Who do you think the German player is? Realistically, it's either Kimmich. I think it must be Kimmich. The only others it could even potentially be would be Musiala. That's a big ticket. Florian Wirtz. I don't know if I see that. Like, who else could it even be? Mittelstadt, maybe, the left back. I think it's got to be Kimmich. Musiala is my dream, and I have a little bit of hope that it is him, because we would want to keep his name quiet. True. Yeah, Sane could be one, given that they've just signed Elise. I mean, the interesting thing is, right, is that if Team News and Tix is saying that there is truth that a German player is a target for Arsenal, like, if that's the truth, does that mean that TikTok with the supposed agent ringing up for a car or moving cars, does that mean that was true? Because if that was true, then that agent seems to think that it's already a done deal. So that's interesting. 100k a week, you think 400k a month, but tax is an absolute beesh. Yeah, he's taking home what, like 200k a month? I mean, I'd take home 200k a month. I'd take that. To most of the time not even play. I would take that. Is it a German player or a player based in Germany, though? I believe it's a German international. Because they're at the Euros. Unless it's a player based in Germany who's not German but is also still at the Euros. So what Bundesliga based non-Germans are there that are still at the Euros? There's Kane. It's not going to be Kane. Kobel for Switzerland. It won't be Xavi Simons. It won't be him. Kingsley Coman. Don't think so. Nah, there just aren't really any of them. I think it's got to be a German. Plus that thing said that they already had like 4 left-hand drive cars. I don't know. We could be watching him this week without knowing. Well, I'll tell you what, I think Kimmich has been decent. So if it is Kimmich, I'd say happy days. Your favorite name to slay? Schlotterbeck? It could be Schlotterbeck. No, I don't think it will be Schlotterbeck. Do you know what really impressed me in that game against the last game they played against Denmark? How many headers Schlotterbeck was winning? But I don't think it will be him. Sancho? Nah. He wouldn't have all those left-hand drive cars. What's happening? I just tuned in. So according to Team News and Ticks, the thing about the German international is true, but they don't want to give the name out because we don't want clubs to hijack it. Kimmich is the one that just makes by far the most sense. We know that Bayern are looking to move him on. We know Arsenal are one of the clubs that he'd be happy to go to. His profile fits what we're looking for in terms of a central midfielder, but that could also play at right back. Like, all signs lead to Kimmich. Kimmich doesn't have an agent. No, he doesn't have an agent, but he will have people helping him. So the person ringing up the person ringing up about the car didn't actually say that they were his agent per se. I'm certain that he has a personal assistant and all the rest of it. Danny Olmo? Maybe. We also know apparently that they have a family. I think it said they have a family on that thing as well. Said he was bringing the family over. Does Danny Olmo have kids? I don't know. These are the sorts of investigative works you have to do. Why would they even give a clue to avoid any hijacks? If fans can figure it out, I'm sure clubs can. Yeah, that's the thing. And especially with Kimmich, everyone knows that Kimmich is available anyway. So, why would a club come in and hijack Kimmich as if they weren't already aware that he was available? I don't know. Hummels? He wants out of Dortmund? Nah. No, because Hummels isn't at the Euros. Sesko's market value after this tournament? Yeah, you're not wrong. Do you know what? That's the one thing about Sesko making that decision to stay at Leipzig. Like, he turned down, effectively, Man United, Chelsea, and Arsenal. There's no guarantee he ever gets those opportunities again. Like, he probably will, and it's good that he backs himself. But there is no guarantee that next summer any of those clubs come in for him. It's a brave decision. It is a brave decision to stay where he is. City might get Kimmich just to weaken us and destroy our plans. I don't think City want Kimmich because of his wages. City have a genuine problem at the moment with their wage bill. City's wage bill is fucking huge. And I don't think they would want to add another potentially like 300k a week to their wage bill for a player that they don't actually want. They just don't want us to get. Sort of glad we didn't get him after the breakaway choke. Yeah, look, he's young. You need those experiences. Those experiences are character building. And we've seen them with Arsenal players. The best example is Saliba. Every time Saliba's gone into kind of a new big game in a new big environment, he's looked a little bit shaky. First game of the Euros, he looked shaky. But he's massively grown into the Euros. Kimmich or Musiala, Havertz, do your thing. Yeah, Havertz is out there persuading them. We've got apparently Jorginho's working on Calafiori as well. Havertz had a breakaway choke though. He did. Who wants to be loyal to Leipzig or Salzburg? Sesko's a weird person. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a gamble on your career, though, isn't it? Because the alternative to that is he gives himself another year of like guaranteed first team football and like starting, so that can then help his career. Maybe he wanted an even bigger move. I mean, not that there is a bigger move than Arsenal, obviously, but um, time will tell. Time will tell. Anyway, it is time for Guess the Guna, the game where I give you 5 clues about an ex or current Arsenal player, and you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. So get your fingers on your keyboards because we are starting now. Clue number 1, this player joined Arsenal in 2011. Clue number 1, this player joined Arsenal in 2011. Clue number 2, they scored 1 goal in 70 appearances for Arsenal. Clue number 2, they scored 1 goal in 70 appearances for Arsenal. Clue number 3, they moved from Arsenal to Nottingham Forest. Clue number 3, they moved from Arsenal to Nottingham Forest. Clue number 4, they are currently 32 years old and don't have a club. Clue number 4, they are currently 32 years old and do not have a club. And clue number 5, they went on loan spells to both West Ham and Birmingham whilst they were at Arsenal. Clue number 5, they went on loan spells to both West Ham and Birmingham whilst they were at Arsenal. Who is the player? Make sure I don't get VAR checked here. Make sure we don't get VAR checked. Okay, I don't think I'm going to get VAR checked. And the winner is, it is Hyper. Hyper Protagonist is the winner. It is Carl Jenkinson. Carl Jenkinson, what a player. Anu Brata is second. Ethan Udall is third. Vivi Vlad is fourth. And Ryan Henderson is fifth. But Hyper, congratulations. You'll love to see it. And the VAR check has been completed. VAR goal given to Hyper Protagonist. You do love to see it. Why was I even thinking of Gnabry? No, it was after Gnabry. Or before Gnabry, rather. It is now time for Guess the Non-Gooner. I'm going to give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal. You have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right was the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community, but not as much respect as Hyper Protagonist currently has. This player started their career at the Sparta Rotterdam Academy. They went to Heerenveen. They went to PSV Eindhoven. And they went to Inter Milan. Sparta Rotterdam, Heerenveen, PSV Eindhoven, Inter Milan. Who is the player? It is not Reinders. It's not Darun. It's not Devane. I love how early doors, literally all of the guesses before I'd even started. Weghorst, Matson, Simons, Ake, Reinders, Dragusin. But none of you got it right. The first person to get it right, though, he's back with it again. It's another Guess the Non-Gooner win for Sportcat. It was indeed Denzel Dumfries, or Dumfries, as Sportcat has called him. Vivi Vlad was second. Logical Nonsense was third. Ethan Udall was fourth. And Olu was fifth. There you go. It was indeed Denzel Dumfries. Sportcat is just unbelievable. Sportcat is unbelievable when it comes to Guess the Non-Gooner. Absolutely outrageous. But there we go. Congratulations. Look, there's 5 minutes until kickoff. I will quickly show you before we go. I will quickly show you the lineups for Austria versus Turkey because I've not seen them yet and I'm interested. Here we go. Here are the lineups. So Austria, Pence in goal, Posch, Danzo, Lienhart, Mwene, Lima and Seiwold, Schmid, Baumgartner, Sabitzer, and Arnautovic. And for Turkey, you've got Günok, Mulder, Bardakci, Demiral, Karaoglu. Apparently, there are 9 different clubs, including Arsenal, scouting Karaoglu in this game. Yusek, Ayhan, Arda Güler, Koku, Yildiz, and Yilmaz. I like this. Both sides. Both sides, I like this. Genuinely. This it's going to be a good game. I do think Austria are going to win. I've predicted. What have I predicted? By the way, I smashed the last prediction. I've predicted 2-0 to Austria. In the Netherlands game, I predicted 1-0 to Netherlands, but I correctly predicted that Gakpo would score first. I am now 30 points clear. I am 30 points clear in the Euros match predictor game. So you'll love to see it. Pekka is holding on to second place. But anyway, that is going to be the end of the stream. I massively appreciate all of you for joining. I apologize for the little break that we had, but we are back. We'll be back tomorrow. I hope you all have a fantastic evening. I'll be live on Twitch. Links down in the description. I'll be there from about 10:15. But other than that, enjoy your evening, and I will catch you all soon. Goodbye.